France Now.
In last week's episode, we found out France is in massive amounts of debt, which means that the poor citizens are now being taxed heavily, making them very angry. Welcome back to another exciting episode. Here we find the poor people, or the Third Estate, all together, vowing to not stop meeting until a constitution is established. They're calling this the Tennis Court Oath.
Well, a few weeks ago, we all attended the Estate General, which is like this big meeting with all the estates.
That being the clergy, the nobility, and us, the Third Estate.
King Louis XVI promised our voices would be heard. And guess what he did? He made the voting system by majority.
We make up like 98% of the population, and we only got one vote. Of course, the clergy and the nobility would vote to raise our taxes or put more pressure on us. They're content partying with the king while we have to do all the work.
But luckily we have John Baptiste.
I was elected to be president of the third class for the Estate General, and when I saw all the unfairness in the courts, I thought I had to do something. And that something was, well, this. We're the backbone of this country. Thinking he can ignore us will lead to the king's downfall. We deserve rights. We were born with them, and he's just ignoring that. As a king, he should be able to care and listen to his people.
What? Oh, just ignore them. The Third Estate has always been like this. They'll die down eventually. Plus, they should be thinking about the country instead of being so selfish and only worrying about themselves. Just maybe don't tell them I said that.
He said what?
He seriously thinks it's okay to take away our natural rights? I deserve to be heard. We all do.
I know. I mean, I'm not even a part of the Third Estate. But as a man of God, I think this is ridiculous. Jesus would disapprove.
We want to be heard! We want to be heard! We want to be heard!
King Louis?
What is it? I'm going to keep playing with my blocks.
Well, you can play with them later. I just have to kind of mention this to you, and then you can keep playing with your blocks, okay?
Fine. What?
Well, the people are getting angry. They say that as a leader, you should be more fair and let them have a say in what happens to France.
Huh?
The people think you're ignoring them. They want a more fair vote in the Estate General.
What?
The Third Estate wants to make things more fair.
Oh, what?
Guys, don't worry. The advisor, the king said he'll consider you wanting a better voting system. So there's no reason to be angry.
What are you talking about? We've already established the Constituent Assembly.
Yeah, and all estates have joined.
We're going to take control. We'll become our own government.
Go tell the king if he won't give us rights, we'll write our own.
The king is screwed.
Louis, you're screwed.
How are we feeling, ladies? Hungry? Well, me too. It's been a hard time for everyone with the shortage of bread, and not to mention the ridiculously high prices. Our children and families are starving, and it's about time we do something. On October 5th, 1789, join your sisters in a march from Paris to Versailles. If the king won't listen, we'll make him. The French people have officially decided that they want to be heard.
We've already started working on a constitution.
And a Declaration of Rights. It's so exciting.
But things for the assembly were about to take a turn.
The king is going to arrest us. He doesn't want the assembly to continue meeting.
What?
Why would he do this?
They're going to stop my power? No! Send troops.
That's not a very good idea.
No, it's fine. Remember, we want control.
Yes!
We need to defend ourselves.
Yeah!
We need weapons.
Yeah!
But where do we get the guns? And when we get them, where do we get gunpowder?
I know. The Bastille just got 250 barrels of gunpowder.
Yeah!
I was yelling and screaming with everyone, and that's when I realized. A few days ago, I was walking by the Bastille, hoping to see my mother who was in prison for not paying her taxes. I saw some guys talking about how they got a ton of gunpowder from a fortress in Paris because of fear of uprising.
So, the National Constituent Assembly sent out to storm the Bastille and defend themselves.
There's 900 of us. Lower your gates. You have no chance.
Never. As the governor of the Bastille, I personally think it would be dishonorable to let these angry men into my fortress. But don't worry, we're safe here. They won't ever be able to lower the gates.
They're
down the gates!
Oh.
This is awesome. We're finally taking a stand.
And don't worry, we're trying to make it peaceful. All we want is to defend ourselves.
Shoot!
Did Delaney just order his men to shoot?
Yeah, I did. What of it?
Little did Delaney know, once the people had taken the gunpowder and freed the prisoners, they weren't going to let him off scot-free.
Hey, let's talk about this.
And so, it seems like the revolution has begun.
We finally finished the Declaration of Rights of Man. It's 17 articles long.
Our main points are that every man is born free, will remain free, has natural rights, and no one man can have absolute authority that is not earned.
The law must view all people as equals, and no one person may injure another or do anything harmful that is outside the law. That being said, no one can be in prison for doing something in the law.
Any person is innocent until proven guilty, and every man has the freedom of thought, speech, and idea.
Tax is equally appointed by each person's value gain, and any society that does not guarantee separation of power and natural rights is not a worthy society.
And lastly, everybody has the sacred right to property. With these articles, we are finally able to take more control in society and let our voices be heard.
Not only that, but the Assembly announced the abolishment of the feudal regime, or in other words, the tier system. The clergy and nobles are no longer those titles. Now everyone is on the same level. Well, at least that's what the Assembly tried to institute.
No way am I approving this declaration. It takes away from my power. That would only lead to more problems. I'm a great leader.
Louis, I don't think that's a good idea. The people are already angry.
I thought you said we want power.
Yes!
Not only was the king not allowing change to occur, the conditions in France were getting worse, and the women of Paris couldn't take it anymore. On October 5th, 1789, the women of Paris marched to Versailles to relocate King Louis XVI.
But I don't want to leave my palace.
You'll still be staying in a palace, just not this one.
I like this one better, though, and so is Marie. Do you not care about your queen?
We hate Marie and we don't care.
Well, wait till I tell Marie you said that.
Good people of France, I know that I seem to be a foreign power from Austria, here to tear you down, but really I care for every single one of you.
Really? Prove it then. What famine is happening right now?
What's a famine? Oh, is it a pony famine? Are the ponies hungry?
No, we have no flour, which means no bread. It's a bread famine. We're all starving.
Well, that seems awfully redundant. Just buy some more bread.
But there is none.
What do you mean? We have plenty.
And so, King Louis and Marie Antoinette were moved to a new palace, the Tuileries Palace. Now with King Louis XVI back under the people's control, the Assembly can continue to work on their constitution, and on September 3rd, 1791, it was completed.
We say only active citizens who pay taxes and are registered can vote.
People who are appointed with jobs like the legislative and judges have to be voted into their position instead of just getting it by birthright or a higher power.
And of course, it
limits the king's powers.
So, Louis XVI, what are thoughts on the Constitution? Many people were surprised that you accepted it so willingly.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
Wait, really?
Yeah, my power will be restored soon anyway, so it's fine.
I don't think that'll
yes,
happen.
It will.
In order to implement the Constitution, the Assembly became known as the Legislative Assembly on September 30th, 1791. In May, one of the representatives of the Legislative Assembly, Maximilien Robespierre, convinced everyone to have a completely new election of legislature in order to keep a fair and non-corrupt voice of the people. And a few months later, we went to the Tuileries Palace to interview King Louis XVI about his prediction. Oddly enough, he wasn't there.
King Louis has fled! He's trying to abandon us in his responsibilities as a king.
Where could he be? We have to find him.
Many citizens were worried, but a few seemed oddly unbothered, so we sat down to talk about why.
Louis and Marie are idiots. If they're trying to flee, then they'll either make it, and we'll be better off without them, or they'll get caught, because again, they're idiots.
Well, we heard that King Louis is fleeing to Austria in hopes of sanctuary and to possibly gather foreign power to bring back the monarchy.
Yeah, sure that would happen. Listen, I've spoken as a representative in the National Assembly more than 500 times. I've talked the talk, and I've done my research on King Louis and his wife, and I don't think anyone is going to help him.
King Louis and Marie were found trying to flee to Vienna. They forgot to change their passports and are being brought back now.
See?
With Louis attempting to flee, tensions grow even higher. Upon his return, he no longer got to live in his nice palace. Instead, he was put in the temple prison under treason. So, Louis, how do you feel about this turn of events?
Well, honestly, I don't really get what I did wrong.
Really?
I mean, sure, I completely ignored my people's voices. I gave them no rights and only thought about myself. I also didn't take control like a real king or any figure in power should, and instead relied heavily on my bribed and often greedy advisors. And I spent most of my time disconnected from my citizens while piling France into farther debt. And when everything caught up to me and the French people tried to make a change, I immediately got scared and ran away, trying to stop them from changing our government to something more fair, just simply because I was uncomfortable with the shift in the power dynamics. But I just don't get how that's relevant.
Well, yeah, it's pretty obvious that King Louis XVI is unresolvable, and the people of France have come up with some great ways to balance out the power and make everything more fair. So, they should continue to keep him locked up, maybe punish him, and go on with their legislative assembly, continuing France's growth in as peaceful a way as possible.
Execution!
King Louis XVI has been found guilty of treason and is now sentenced to death by guillotine.